Waypoints Podcast. This is Pastor Lyle of Tallahassee Baptist Church, and here again with you with Pastor Andy.
Hey, how's it going?
We are getting ready for another great episode for our Waypoints Podcast. This is episode 8 now. We're becoming pros.
Getting at it, man.
And either pros at sounding like we know something, or pros at just talking into the air, and maybe it sticks with a few people here and there. Episode 8. No, it's been exciting to see and to hear how it's catching on with some people, and getting some feedback from those in the church that are utilizing the podcast. And that's our heart. We want to provide something that gives another level of content for people, for their daily walk, their daily discipleship, and hopefully that people can grow into it. And you can jump into it at any point, and you're there to listen, to go back to re-listen, and really soak it in, and and especially all the fun discussions that we have, our nerddom, as it really likes to stick out. But now we got another great episodes and some content for us today, as we are working through the idea of discipleship and how that plays out into our life as well. And I was thinking the other day in my morning walks, and different ideas come up. Sometimes you have ideas and inspiration happens in the shower, or for me it's in my morning walks when I'm walking and doing different discussions, different ideas, different things pop into my head. And it's like, here's a great discussion, and in thinking about what inspires you. What inspires you? There's several things throughout the course of our lives that inspire us to be, or want to be certain things, or want to do certain things. What are some things that you've noticed that help inspire other things, and maybe not just in your life, but in pop culture on a whole?
Oh man. So pop culture as a whole, pop culture as a whole. You think about inspiring, and then my mind automatically goes to influencers.
Right.
We've talked about that before in the past. Being an influencer, you're influencing people, and really you're as an influencer, you're inspiring people. Some do it for good reasons, inspire them to, hey, do this well, or you're inspiring them to be, more worldly or whatever it is.
Have you gotten on Twitch or any of that?
Twitch, I used to Twitch stream and all that stuff.
Really?
Doing gaming and stuff like that.
I haven't gotten on it, but I've heard that, like, oh, they got a Twitch channel or this, and then they got some. I'm like, what in the world? Watching people play Fortnite, or play games, or play whatever, Minecraft, I don't understand it. And then to see grown adults, having a Twitch channel to talk about reality TV, or different. I mean, we have really turned into a society of just listening to people have commentary on things.
I mean, seriously, we're a culture of commentary. We seldom want to have our own thoughts. And so we want to look to other people's thoughts to tell us what to think.
Not here, man. You're getting all original on this podcast.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Well, sometimes. But mostly original.
Yeah.
Some original. I don't know. Something in there.
So for inspiration, man, like for me personally, there's been plenty of people or things that have inspired me to do stuff. In my walk with the Lord, I've looked to certain people and see how they do their walk. Mm-hmm. When it comes to things like, how they interact with people, how they love people, or when it comes to how they're interacting with God's word, or even some godly men that I've seen, how they treat their wife in their marriage and stuff like that. That all that kind of stuff has inspired me to I pursue those ideas that I think are good and godly. And so There's been tons of inspiration in my life. I'm not going to get into any of the dumb inspirations.
Yeah, but sometimes that's fun.
Yeah.
Like, growing up, uh, you remember the version of Robin Hood, the Disney version with the fox?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to be an archer so bad. When he dresses up like the stork, our kids were watching it the other night, so it's fresh on my mind. When he dresses up like a stork at the competition and he shoots that arrow and the sheriff makes it go in the air, and then he shoots another arrow and hits that arrow and it comes, totally not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, to watch that and to see how good he was, I was like, man, I want to be an archer.
Yeah.
Robin Hood inspired archery, and with like archery, like the Hunger Games, how Katniss, was a good archer. I think that, and so another one, kind of fun one that inspired. When you look at Top Gun, when it came out, they had such a huge influx of people wanting to be pilots and aviators, and or at least there was a run on the aviator glasses, at least. But I remember, after watching that movie as a little kid, my brothers had an old, those old football costumes and stuff growing up, and they had one of the helmets that went with that. Oh, I took the face mask off of that.
No.
And so I had that helmet, and then my dad had an old set of an old headset, with the ears and a microphone from his flight line.
Mm-hmm.
And it had cords to plug in and everything. And I got that headset, I got that old helmet, and I tried to color it, something like the Top Gun guys. I put that helmet on, I put that headset over the helmet, and man, it was like I was in the cockpit of an F-14. I mean, I would sit on the top of our stairs. I don't know why the stairs, but I'd sit on the top of our stairs, and I was in it, man, and I was flying, and so it's interesting how, movies can inspire runs on things, and,
Yeah.
um, sports figures, any sports figure? I know you said you like tennis.
Yeah. I mean, Roger Federer was always a big one for me.
Yeah. Do you ever try to mimic like his motion or anything?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think I've said it on the podcast before. I try to mimic his play style. I haven't tried to mimic his hairstyle, his lush, beautiful hair.
Wow.
And yeah.
We need some picture evidence of that. Yeah, because I mean, there was whole marketing campaigns with that, with like the Be Like Mike,
Yeah.
the Gatorade. I
Uh-huh.
want to be like Mike. I'll tell you, last summer when we were in Indianapolis for the convention, we looked and I saw that the Indiana Fever were in town. I was like, oh, hey, this might be a cool time for Emmy to get to go see, women's basketball.
Yeah.
And then it didn't hurt that Caitlin Clark was, a rookie, first year in the league,
Mm-hmm.
making this big impact. I was like, that'd be kind of neat for her to see it. And, of course, she wanted a jersey and everything to go along with it. So we get tickets up in the upper decks, and we're like, we're just going to go experience this. And I was like, maybe there won't be that many people there, and then we can sneak down to the bottom, whatever. We get there, that place was packed out.
Oh yeah.
And it was the Caitlin Clark phenomenon was real. And I mean, just a regular season game, and the arena that the Indiana Pacers, the NBA team, plays in, was sold out. And I mean, they had people everywhere. The influences, the line in the merchandise shops to get the jerseys and stuff. I mean, they were selling out. It was incredible. And it's real, that kind of influence. And Caitlin Clark has had a huge impact on girls playing basketball.
Yeah.
It's really put a spotlight on that. And it's kind of neat to see that, especially since, I have a teen girl playing basketball,
Right.
and to see some of that put in there. When you think of that, when you look at those types of things about inspiration, how does it keep you locked in? How does inspiration help keep you focused?
It gives you a goal to focus on. I guess we'll kind of get into an embarrassing one. If you want. But me, I want to be the very best.
Yeah.
Like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. and to train them is my cause.
I'm guessing this is with some
This is Pokemon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that one flew right over my head. Wow.
And so even that, as a kid and watching this guy named Ash Ketchum on the TV show Pokemon,
Yeah.
go out, catch Pokemon, try to be the very best, and be like, man, I want to be good at everything. Now, the thing about Ash Ketchum is he lost so much, so often, never won a tournament until about a few years ago when the series finally ended. He won a championship.
Of course.
And it was amazing for all millennials like myself to see that happen. And
you were pumped. You were ready to go catch some more Pokemon.
Oh yeah. And so just seeing that dedication and training that was put in inspired me to it actually even inspired my tennis training.
Oh wow.
Be like, I got to push myself harder. I got to go further. I got to push because if I'm going to be the best, and I never was, I need to work for it. I need to push myself hard.
Not the best yet.
Not the best yet, and probably never will be.
Oh, don't sell yourself short.
There's a height requirement to be the best, and I missed that by quite a bit.
Well, not according to Rudy. When you think about that, though, it makes sense when we have that kind of example. It gives us something to model after, pattern after, and really you see that biblically when Paul says things like, "Hey, mark those that are doing good, follow their example. Hey, follow me as I'm following." Now that's instant accountability to say that, but for people to have an example or someone setting the pace, and that helps weed out a lot of the other distractions.
Yeah.
To keep your eyes focused on that. And I think that's where having some of these examples are really good. And today we have such access to people and connections to people. I mean, there's more video content than ever before, documentaries. I mean, if you go down deep holes on our different examples and you can pull out so much info about people to be able to stay locked in and to really follow with that. And I think that's going to be, a key in our discussion today too, on how to stay locked in, stay focused.
Yeah.
In our discipleship.
I mean, I also look at it this way. You look at little kids and the way they interact with their parents, and to me, it's always sweet when I see like a little son. I want to be like my dad, and so they go and they grab a tool belt, they pretend to hammer stuff, or break stuff in the process. But they have that inspiration there in front of them, and they're taking those steps to be like their father, to be like their mother, whatever it is. And it's all fun.
Yeah, it's cute to see that. Although I don't think I have to worry about my sons falling in my step. I don't think Hayden is deathly afraid of public speaking. He's very fine being behind the scenes in the corner, helping, doing stuff like that. And Finley, I don't know if you saw him when they were singing the special in church the other day. Nicole had to tell him to take his hands out of his pockets. And so once he did that, I've never seen the kid be that still in my life. It was just like a deer in headlights when he was standing up there attempting to sing. So for as much energy as he has, I don't think public speaking is going to be his thing. So I guess they're not going to follow my footsteps.
Yeah.
As we get into our topic today, we got a couple more rally points.
All right. Awesome.
And the exciting thing is they're coming from Jack Williams again. So we're kind of getting to follow along a little bit and hear some of Jack's victories and what's going on in his life. And he's sending in some rally points, and so we want to celebrate that. This is a really great one. All right. So listen what he said. He said, "I was at the station getting ready to do my daily reading. It was 2-3 p.m., so the lights were off in the bunk room for the guys napping." He's a firefighter with Irving Fire Department. The guys were napping, so I just grabbed my Bible and went to the dinner table. One of the guys in our study group sent me a list of contradictions in the Bible. He has contradictions in quotation marks. that he wanted to dive into. So my plan was to go in and to read the verses in question, try to find him some answers. Another guy was already at the table, asked what I was doing. I told him. He said, "Oh, that's neat." And he came and just sat next to me and started reading along. Then another guy walked in, same thing. Then my captain walked in with another guy and asked. Then they sat down, and so I started reading aloud. Another guy walked in, and so then he started going down the list with us all. And this is the one that he actually interacted with in one of the first rally points. And we just started doing open discussions on everything. We sat there for hours going through everything until we had to stop and make dinner. It was just an overall enjoyable experience having the whole station join in like that and actually want to go through those and help someone out that they've never met work through those contradictions that were holding him back. I mean, isn't that incredible? I mean, that's seeing the impact of what's going on in your life and in your walk with the Lord now impacting all these people around him.
Yeah.
It's starting to push out, to radiate.
Yeah. It just shows you, man, that your faith isn't just for you alone. It should have an impact on others. And that's exactly what's happening in Jack's life right now, is he's taking his walk with the Lord seriously, and it's exuding out to other people are noticing, and they're wanting to get in on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Impacting a whole fire station.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible. And then he has a follow-up with the challenge that he started. He said this is a personal accomplishment one. He said he finished the 40-day mile challenge that he mentioned earlier. He said it was tough at times, and I really didn't know if I was going to complete it due to fatigue, but I dug in and did it anyways, and I'm glad I did so. I read through the Gospels during that time, and I just have a new appreciation for the immense suffering Jesus took on to pay our debt. I've taken some time off to recover, but now I'm ready to get back into things, have a new challenge in mind for the future. I mean, he is finding things to inspire him to continue on. And it's cool how he did that with the Gospels in connection, and really allowing the sufferings of Christ, the walk of Christ to impact him in that. So awesome job, Jack. It's great seeing how the word and how discipleship's make an impact in your life and then impacting others through you. All right. That's awesome. And so if you are listening and if you've got a victory, it doesn't matter how small or how big, we want to celebrate with you. We want to give you that shout out and highlight it and celebrate with you on these. It's great to hear what God's doing. So if you've got some rally points, send them in, email them to us, lyle@tautbc.org, and let us know. Let us hear, and hear what's going on in your personal walk. So now jumping into our topic today, we're going to be looking at obstacles in discipleship. Obstacles in discipleship. We think that everything's going to go smoothly. We kind of get that no rainy days, kind of mentality. But when it comes down to it, when we are trying to get closer to the Lord, we're going to have opposition, right? The devil doesn't want us to do that. So we're going to have opposition. And in fact, he's not going to oppose the one who isn't walking, who isn't trying to grow closer. He's going to leave them alone, because they're in a spot that's not growing, that's stagnant. The ones that are growing, the ones that are getting closer to Christ, that are radiating, like we're seeing in Jet, they're going to experience some opposition, some obstacles. And so when we look at and think about, discipleship, and remember, discipleship is that daily journey to produce spiritual fruit and maturity in the life of the believer, growing toward Christ likeness. Waypoints is our avenue for this aspect of discipleship that we're trying to use to help people in this new ministry culture to walk and grow closer to the Lord in this as well. And so as they are doing that, as they are walking in this daily journey, obstacles are going to creep in. And so we want to try to stay locked in, right? Like we're talking about the inspiration, to have that example to help us stay locked in, to stay focused. And part of doing that if we know that we're gonna have obstacles, being able to stay locked in and focused is first off being aware that we're going to have obstacles, that we're gonna have things pop up, and we're gonna have things going on, and I've run across people, and maybe you have too in your experience, where they get frustrated like with their daily quiet time.
Yeah.
They're like, man, I did great this week, and then or this past week, and now this week I just missed this day and I missed that day. And I think sometimes they get so hard, and then they just want to they quit,
Yeah.
And I try to remind people, it's just like eating.
Mm-hmm.
If you miss lunch, that doesn't mean you have to miss dinner.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't typically miss a meal myself. But if you miss a meal, that doesn't mean you're going to not eat again ever. Pick up the next day, pick up the next time, and jump back in there, and don't let that obstacle stop you. But part of overcoming obstacles is just knowing that they're there.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We see this in sports all the time. Different aspects, like in football, you've got a blitz.
Yeah.
Playing on offensive line, one of the things that we had to learn is blitz pickup. And the first thing that you have to get right in blitz pickup is recognizing who's blitzing. And so defenses try to disguise that and send different packages things, but the offensive line are going to call out their protection based on reading the blitz. And if the outside is blitzing, then everybody's going to shift down a guy, and this double team's going to shift to this guy. And so you got to be aware of it. In baseball, if you see this guy, this runner on first is about to steal,
yeah,
you use a pickoff move. You look for the signs. If they're inching farther away from that bag, all right, they're getting ready to steal. I'm going to change up my pace. I'm going to throw over to first. I'm going to pick them off. Watching Emmy play basketball, one of the things they work on defense is screens.
Yeah.
And they probably need to work on an offense too, because Emmy keeps getting called for setting a moving screen.
Oh, God.
But what a screen is, they have a player that stops and they have to stand completely still, and the person with the ball runs right close to them so that their defender gets blocked basically by that other person, and they set a screen for him. And so on defense, they've got to be able to read and communicate, hey, screen, and that person that is defending the person setting the screen steps up and takes over the person trying to come around the screen.
Yeah.
So they kind of shift, but they've got to recognize it. They've got to communicate so that they can get through that thing. And so when we look at and talk about these obstacles today, I think the big key is being aware of what commonly derails discipleship and what commonly derails our real growth with the Lord. And so we want to kind of help bring some of that awareness so that we can know, hey, these are some common things, common ways in which our discipleship can get off track. What helps you? What are some things that have helped you kind of be aware of obstacles for discipleship in your life?
Yeah. So well, that's funny because we're talking about this obstacles, and my mind is going to this show that used to come on TV called Wipeout. And they have all these
greatness.
obstacles in the way. And in life, life is like that show. There's always going to be obstacles. Now the difference is those obstacles aren't that obvious.
Yeah,
it's not going to be some.
But I don't know, that one wall, the punching bag, you don't know which one's going to come out.
That's true. That's true.
And sometimes they just clocks them.
Oh, a lot of those are funny. But yeah, so you're looking at those obstacles, and for me personally, just identifying obstacles. I don't like to be, but I'm an analytical person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm constantly observing, and this is going to sound bad, but I like to look at other people's lives and see what obstacles they've been facing and how that can in turn come into my life, how that can be an obstacle in my life or something like that.
But see, that's an interesting thing because that would speak also to the power of the church,
Mm-hmm.
To the power of the community life in the church, because you're walking through lives together, and some of these obstacles that someone else has faced, it helps. We can learn from that.
Yeah.
We can learn sometimes we can learn from their victories. We can learn from their defeats and some of the things that they've experienced. We can learn from people. And sometimes we also have the very similar
Mm-hmm.
experiences, and you can recognize that in someone's life when you say, hey, I see this in your life. Hey, I've gone through that similar path.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting you bring that up, because it really speaks to, the power of walking through this discipleship as a church body. And and a big part of it too is keeping a real world perspective.
Yeah.
Um, and understanding, yeah, tough days are going to come.
Yeah.
Jesus never sugarcoated it with his disciples. He didn't tell them, you do this and everything is going to be just fine. No cloud in the sky.
Yeah.
Your bank account's always going to be full. Your car's never going to break down. No, he says, listen, in this world, you're going to have tribulation.
Yeah.
In John 15, he tells them, hey, the world's going to hate you because it hated me first.
Yeah.
And so I think we have to have a real world perspective, and to help us stay alert,
Yeah.
to be vigilant. The scripture says.
And I think that's one of the things that a lot of people forget. And that's an obstacle, a big obstacle that we like to get in the way is this, thinking that everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
There's going to be times in our spiritual life where we're walking and we miss the dresser, so we stub it with our small toe, our little toe.
Mm-hmm.
We fall on the ground crying. Our spiritual life is like that sometimes. Is it great? No, absolutely not. Is it a learning experience? Yeah, absolutely. And
we got to be real about it.
Yeah.
Because even I in different points and times, you go through those kind of spiritually draining times when, hey, the quiet time isn't so good.
Yeah.
You go through some different droughts, and we're not talking a day or two. Sometimes it can be months where you're going through some spiritual droughts, and you're like, all right, this is got to change. Something's got to change here, because it's very easy to get busy. Even in ministry, you can get busy doing ministry things, but they can also distract you from that which is life giving.
Yeah.
Right. In different things. So I think it's important to understand that this can be seasons. Obstacles and droughts and things can be seasons too, that we have to work through and overcome. And also a big help in understanding and in being aware of obstacles is having a sense of constant learning.
Yeah.
Don't stop learning. Keep growing. Keep reading. I know I just said the R word, reading. Keep finding ways to develop, and to be aware of what's going on. I mean, we are living in such an information saturated society. And you know what? You can find a podcast for everything, right?
Yeah, you can.
But you got to start with this podcast. I mean, this is the podcast you got to start with.
That's right.
And you can go to all the other ones. No, but I mean, we live in such a really a privileged time for that. And so don't get fatigued, but allow it to continually keep you aware of what's going on, or to get a fresh perspective and to see some different things, as well. So I want to do this. I want to dive into some common obstacles that we see.
Okay.
All right. And so I want to hit some of these and just kind of walk through them and discuss them a little bit, of just common things that we're saying. This isn't an exhaustive list. There's definitely things you probably can add to this, but these are some major ones that we've kind of observed, that we've kind of seen, that have caused people to stumble. Right. I think one thing, that happens and creates a distraction, even in discipleship, is consistency, commitment.
Yeah.
Right. Not staying connected, to the process or staying connected to pursuing Christ likeness. And I think a lot of times that consistency and commitment is because we have a hard time saying no to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We have a hard time saying no to worldly pursuits. I think in the last episode we talked about that. That's going to be increasingly one of the hard things is to put self aside, and that kind of consumerism, that self indulgence, to follow Christ.
Yeah.
Right. And so without consistency, it's hard to build anything. It's hard to keep moving in that direction. Without that type of commitment. I heard a coach say one time, it's the difference between being involved and invested.
Yeah.
A lot of people get involved, but not a lot of people invest. And invest is that commitment of, hey, I'm going to do what it takes to get this rolling. And so a lot you just can't go in there with that mentality of I'll hit a little bit here, I'll hit a little bit there. And, if I show up a little bit here and show up a little bit there, I'm okay. I think Jesus has warranted a stronger commitment than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, this is just the way my mind thinks, but you talk about that consistency and commitment in our walk with Christ and avoiding that obstacle. I think of it like dieting. We talk a lot about dieting on here because it's a major part of our lives.
We're in it.
Yeah. But it can be, you can't expect to lose weight if you're like, oh, I'm going to cheat this meal. And, oh, I messed up this one so I can cheat the rest of the day. You know what? Not just the day, but I ruined this week. So I get to cheat the rest of the week. You know what?
Right.
Not just this week, but this month. I'll start again next month.
Uh-huh.
And so it's that thing to where you can't let one small failure, snowball into something greater.
Yeah. Because it gets easier.
It does. And we talked about being real.
Mm-hmm.
Be real. Yeah, you messed up. All right. Pick yourself up. Move on.
Yep.
Don't continue in the failure.
Right.
And that's where too many believers lose it, is they decide to continue in the failure.
Right. Yeah, and that leads to more inconsistency. And you gotta string those victories together, and keep them rolling, and let that aspect snowball. But when you start stepping away, it's amazing how easy it gets to not go to that quiet time, to not spend that time in prayer. The more that you get that in there. So yeah, I think that's a big one: consistency, commitment. How about distraction?
There's a lot of them out there.
Distraction. Being distracted from this pursuit. There are so many flashy, shiny object type things that grab our attention.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Have you ever known somebody that is like they're always pursuing some new hobby?
Yeah. Shout out to people with ADHD.
No, I'm not attacking people with ADHD.
No, but it's noticeable in them.
Yeah.
Shout out my wife. But anyway,
I have to edit.
Yeah.
When you look at distractions, we get that way in our Christian walk. It seems like the devil is good, about putting right distractions in front of us. And I say the devil, but the demonic forces and worldly pursuits, our flesh even has ways of just distracting us. And sometimes it produces that mentality of, hey, the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
Right. Hey, this is costing you too much. This over here is easy. It's comfortable. They're not going to ask that much. So we get distracted, or just time wasters.
Yeah.
Right. Have you noticed, with reels and different things, like how easy it is? These things are 90 seconds or less.
Yeah.
And you just start swiping through these things, and all of a sudden something that is so short has caused like 20, 30 minutes of your life to go away.
Yeah. It's that doom scrolling effect, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you get like, in YouTube and all that stuff, man, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
You get that algorithm right. And man, they start suggesting things. And then all of a sudden this video pops up, and
Mm-hmm.
this video pops up, and this turns on, and then you're going down the rabbit hole of this, and all of a sudden you have spent an hour watching these different things. I've always found it interesting that people, I just don't have time to read my Bible, I just don't have time to do that. No, you just aren't making the time.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the time, you got to find the time with it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm working with students. I know that reason
Yeah.
far too well. And one of the challenges I always make for the students is I like to print out a 24-hour weekly schedule and and I tell them, write down everything that you do this week.
Yeah, that's
And
a good practice.
I'll show you where you waste time.
Yeah, it's a great practice, and what that does is it gives you a perspective of, yeah, this is what I have. We all have 24 hours in a day.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're not gonna find more time. We got to make the time. We got to make the time work for us.
Yeah. I mean, and distractions. We talk about the shiny things, but we also need to be careful about getting distracted by the good things as well. Make sure we don't get caught in that trap of I'm doing good, so this is all right. Like maybe it's volunteering at some kind of shelter or something like that.
Yeah.
And so we get distracted by the doing that we forget who we're doing it for, the source of that.
And what about this? What about the distraction of doing good, getting comfortable in the doing good that we never progress? I think that we get comfortable in the what we are doing that we never accelerate, that we never make the next step. All right, well, I've got this down. Hey, I do this. I'm already doing this, but we don't continue to advance. We just stop growing.
Yeah,
because we get comfortable with where we're at.
Right.
So
that stagnation that can hit us. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just creates a different type of distraction.
Right.
Even though it might be good, we can still continue.
Yeah.
Continue to press forward. How about this one? Legalism. Legalism. This is where we make discipleship a program. All right. And it becomes a checklist.
Yeah.
Right. When I say discipleship is a checklist, what do you think of?
It's that daily. Did I read my Bible? Check. Did I spend time in God's Word today? Check. Did I do this? Did I do that? It's that to-do list.
But is that a bad thing?
It is not a bad thing, but the motivation for completing that checklist, to-do list, if you're doing it for the sake of completing the list, it's not it's really not for your growth. You're just doing it to give yourself a pat on the back.
Yeah. We have turned that then into the goal versus what those things are trying to produce in us. We got to keep that perspective, because we can turn discipleship into legalism real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. When we make it all those different checklist things and it's a program and I've been through this material and I've been through that material and I've been through this Bible study and that Bible study. Okay. But if it's not relational, if it's not producing something personal, and real in your life, and making a difference, and if you're just checking off things to do, you're creating a self-righteousness instead of a Christ-likeness.
Yeah.
And that's taking you away from the goal. Legalism can become an obstacle when we make something else out to be the goal instead of Christ. Right. I like how Paul describes it. I count all that as loss so that I might win Christ.
Yeah.
What? Win Christ? How do you win Christ? It's such an odd phrase, but it's very vivid, because it keeps that Christ likeness is the goal. It keeps that in front of you instead of my self-righteousness, and making myself look good. Legalism, and it can creep in subtly, into your life and become an obstacle. No application.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, no application. In other words, just learning, but never applying the knowledge to life. How many times, do we see this happen where, people will sit through the Bible study. People will sit in church their whole lives, and they'll hear the sermons and they'll know the stories and they'll be comfortable with the sermons and the stories, but they never apply it to their life. They never see a change when they walk out the doors. They never see transformation. There's no application. They know what the Bible says, but they aren't doing it.
Yeah.
That's like having all this power and not using it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
It's like getting in your car, turning your car on, getting back outside of your car and trying to push it.
Yeah.
All right. And trying to do it yourself, because the power of the car comes when you hit the accelerator, when you let it do what it's supposed to do, not applying the scriptures, not letting it do what it's meant to do in your life.
Yeah.
Not learning, or learning, but not applying, doesn't see that power, plugged into your life. And too many times people know stuff, but don't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think another one that kind of derails people in discipleship is not understanding the vision,
Mm.
which leads to not multiplying,
Yeah.
um, and not catching this, not seeing what the real win is, or understanding what the prize is. I tell you, this got real for me as I was a youth pastor, and I had been discipled by my brother and different ones growing up, and I had walked through a discipleship process, and so I had kind of an experience with it in my life, but the vision of multiplication really became real on a mission trip to Chiapas in Mexico. It's a southern state of Mexico, right near the Guatemalan border. And so I got a chance to go down there with a missionary and his son, who was a pastor out in Dumas, Texas, and a person from his son's church.
Hmm.
So it was four of us. This missionary had worked in the state of Chiapas for probably 50 years. And so he would go back a couple times a year and just kind of check on the work on the ministry. And so the church I was at the time really wanted me a chance to go see all this and to go see how he built the work, because he used a model of multiplication.
Mm.
He trained 6 guys to be able to reach their area when he first got there.
Wow.
And those 6 guys became pastors to their own people. And so the missionary wasn't a pastor. He didn't set up a church and pastor a church in Mexico. He trained the national people to reach their own people and to have a heart for multiplying into other people.
That's awesome.
So he started with 6 guys. When we get there, 50 years later, there are hundreds of these churches in these little villages now.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, not like, mega churches and things like that, but no, churches in villages,
Mm-hmm.
a village church in all these little villages and towns. And so we went to these different ones. And on a Sunday, we went to this one village called Jericho. And as we pulled up, the driver stopped probably about 150 yards from the church. And so we stopped, he parked, and the missionary gets out of the front seat, the one that had been there for 50 years, and he starts walking towards it. And as he's walking towards the church, 2 lines start filtering out of this church. You have a line of men and a line of women. And there's an indigenous Indian tribe in the state of the Seltal Indians.
Hmm.
The ladies were all dressed up in the native bright colors and really pretty. And so the ladies are coming up this one side of the street. The men were coming up this other side of the street, all in honor of this missionary.
Wow.
And as he's walking through the crowd, he's shaking hands each side, all these different things. And I'm walking behind him, and I'm like, I have no business, walking in the middle of this. I'm just observing this. And we get in, and they start the worship, and this elderly lady comes up, and she has some little girls with her, and presents them with a gift. And so they're all talking, and the missionary's son is sitting right next to me, and he starts translating. And he says, all right, this is what she's saying. And he's telling me, and he says, she got saved when he first started the ministry here. And so she was here when he first started. She got saved under that ministry, and she started teaching Sunday school and has been teaching Sunday school ever since.
Oh, wow.
And so she gives him a gift. All right. And then she goes sits down. And then this another lady comes up and has a gift and has a Sunday school class with her and is telling, and she says, I got saved in that lady's Sunday school class. And she said, now I'm a Sunday school teacher because she taught me how to be a Sunday school teacher. And she gives him a gift and different things. She goes, another lady comes up and says, I got saved in that second teacher's class. So when you look at it, here's 3 levels.
Yeah.
That this is happening. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening to the son translate all this in front of me. And I'm like, I'm getting chills.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's just incredible. You're seeing the multiplication laid out right in front of you. And they're all teaching Sunday school classes now. And they're all developing, these kids with that mentality. And I think a big problem with discipleship that we see today is people don't have that mentality of this is not supposed to stop with me.
Yeah.
This is supposed to continue on. We're supposed to train someone else. And part of it is what creates that no multiplication in vision is we have disciplers who like the fact that people are surrounding us and listening to us.
Yeah.
And so we like, that they are our disciples and we never send them out.
Yeah.
Mark 3:14, Jesus tells us that he ordained these 12 that they should be with him and that he might send them to preach. And so not having that vision of discipleship of, hey, of what I'm learning, this no grow show is not supposed to just stay with me, but I'm supposed to multiply into someone else who should be taught to multiply into someone else. And that's a big part of what we need to see as well. So personal story, got a little deep there, but I've seen how that makes a huge impact. Another one is inferiority, right? The inferior complex, or just flat out apathy.
Yeah.
Of people just not caring. They either feel incapable of being involved, or they don't care to be involved.
Yeah.
All right. I gotta be careful because it's very easy to go very, very preacher-esque on this because I don't understand with what Jesus has done for us how we could be apathetic.
Yeah.
But we have seen so much of Christianity today turn into that consumerism and individualism that it's all about me. And so people really don't care. And that leads into some of these other ones, no commitment, no consistency.
Right.
Or I just can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that, so I'm not even going to try. Right?
Yeah.
And how many times do people get stopped with that, that inferiority? Listen, when you disciple someone, you are bringing them along to be what you already are. And so if you say I am inferior, you're admitting I'm not where I need to be.
Yeah.
And so to remedy that, don't stay there.
Yep.
Find a way. All right. Then I want to get trained. Then I want to jump in and I want to find a place where I can grow to do this. You don't have to stay inferior. You don't have to stay in that apathy. You don't waller in that mud as well. And then one more to kind of highlight is that, discipleship is professional activity only. That it is the clergy versus laity type mentality. When that developed, when that mentality developed, it created a big harm in our churches because it took out the everyone is a minister mentality that Scripture produces, and makes it, hey, it's only for a professional.
Yeah.
And that's not what Scripture presents us. We're all ministers, and we all have the opportunity to minister. It's not just for professionals only. I heard something interesting about this, that our worship is always impacted by culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we see it impacted by culture around the culture that we're in. When you look at like today, some of the aspects of our worship that have become popular, what do they look like? What do popular worship services look like?
Popular ones. Man, I don't want to, because it gets sticky. It could get sticky.
You're right.
But man, you throw in the popular ones, and you think of certain mega churches with celebrity pastors and stuff like that. You think of the lights, the laser shows, the smoke machine, the fog machines, and stuff like that. It's a huge production. It's an emotional and experiential service for these people.
What does that resemble?
What
does that look like? That kind of production. It looks like a concert.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's where you're getting at.
Yeah.
I had this deer in the headlights in my face. I was like, "What is he trying to say?"
That's right. They're just hearing your voice. They don't see the look on your face. Like,
yeah,
I need you to leave me here.
Yeah. But yeah, no, yeah, you're right. It looks like a T Swift or a Joe Bro concert, or
Yeah, you look at all that production, all those different things, and some of the popular aspects of worship are mimicking the cultural concert vibes, even how we design church buildings.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I'm not completely bashing. There are some that I am bashing, but there are some who actually do it right. They use that stuff for the Lord, and they use it to enhance the worship service, not make the worship service.
Yeah, it's got to be directed the right way.
Yeah.
And so we see culture makes an impact. Well, that's been happening for centuries. And I was listening to a historian talk about that, and he said, early on in the church, one of the things that began to happen is they adopted some of the practices of the political ceremonies and some of the different things. And he said that's when robes became popular, and the different processions and the different kind of rituals and different things started coming into worship that way.
Yeah.
Because culture made an impact. And in that, it created that divide. It created that clergy laity divide, that this was the special group, and then we're observers, and we're watching this, and that's our participation. When you look at the early church in the book of Acts, they were all ministers.
Yeah.
They were gathering, they were worshiping, they were going forth, they were going from house to house, they were daily in the temple. They were all ministering together. And if we get hung up on that, we'll stop ourselves short as well.
It's not just the person from the stage. It's not the you're a little bit older school. It's not the person with the tie on. It's each and every one of us. Man, I'm trying to remember. It might be the Quakers, where when they met for church, they would all sit in the church together. They would sit in silence until someone had a revelation or something, and they started getting up and would speak. And when they got done, the next person would get up and speak.
Wow.
I'm trying to remember. For some reason, Quakers is in my mind, but I don't know if that's right or not.
Yeah.
But these weren't, quote unquote professional preachers. They were people who got together to share God's word.
Right.
And yeah, it's with discipleship and stuff like that. It's not just for the quote unquote professionals.
Yeah. And, we want to see more people getting involved in that. Because that's going to, if we keep that mentality that it's only for the professional, it's only for the pastor, or, the people on staff, then we are going to severely limit the scope of our multiplication.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you think of everyone a minister, right now, if everyone in our church over the next year brought somebody to the Lord, what immediately happens to our church?
So the growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It drastically changes if everybody has a mentality of, oh, I could reach one.
Yeah. I mean, and just beyond the growth, you think of the impact, the community impact that we would have,
Yes.
and all the other kind of stuff. I'm not just talking about numbers. I'm talking about the spiritual development of maybe the community around us.
Yep. And that's the thing, because it's not just about benefiting our church.
Yeah.
It's about the mature multipliers. And so think about that. If each person had a mentality of, I'm going to reach one person this year, and they reach that person and make a difference in that person, whether or not that person ends up here and attending here, doesn't matter if they're transformed.
Yeah.
Because then they are going to be able to impact their community.
Right.
And the ones around them. And then there's a new sphere of influence of the transforming power of the gospel that's happening there. And so we don't know how that might explode into multiplication in different ways if we had that kind of mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so many times we just kind of limit that to, well, that's for them, but this is for me.
Yeah, it's what they get paid to do.
Yeah. But here's the thing: we are all being discipled by something.
Oh yeah,
we're all being discipled, and we are all, showing an influence into someone else. We're all radiating and showing something by our life. And that's going to be something that we see practically every day in our life. We are learning from something, we are following something, and we are showing something with our life. Discipleship and what we're trying to do with Waypoints is we're trying to get that ordered. We're trying to get that moving in that direction to where people are being a follower, a learner of Christ in these different things, growing to Christ likeness, and then showing that to someone else.
Yeah.
And that's like with the rally points. That's what we're trying to do, is to get those examples, to get that inspiration out there so that people have something to kind of see tangible things of this is how it can transform a life. I mean, what an incredible testimony of a whole fire station, right? Having a Bible study.
Yeah.
Because God's getting a hold of one guy's life and getting into his life, and he's responding by getting more into the word and really spending time and intention and growing. And now all of a sudden it's spreading into others. I mean, it's incredible to see that. And that's why we celebrate those things. And that has an opportunity to help so many others see, hey, this is something that could happen in my life. It might not happen exactly like that. And it's probably not going to happen exactly like that, but something similar could.
Yeah.
And what if dads got the picture of, I'm going to make discipleship intentional in my life and let that then shine in their family?
Yeah. Yeah. That's, one of my biggest pleas to parents as a student pastor is they need to disciple their children because, and this is
they are,
yes. And this is something we'll get rid of in our minds. You mentioned this. We are being discipled by something. A lot of us think of it in an aspect where, well, we're either being discipled or we're not being discipled. But yeah, it's we are being discipled by something, whether you're aware of it or not.
Right.
And children especially are being discipled constantly.
Yeah.
And so we need to make sure we're discipling them in the right manner, in the right way, because they're being discipled at school.
Yeah.
They're being discipled
through their phone.
Yeah. They're being discipled with their friends. They're being discipled by their coaches.
Yeah.
And there is no guarantee that any of those things is doing it correctly and biblically. So we should be doing that.
Right. Yeah. We got to turn that tide and show that. Hey, lots of great points. lots of things to consider. There's more obstacles that are out there, but I think those present, and really there's some kind of offshoots of each of these we've kind of talked about in different things, but it's meant for us to be aware.
Yeah.
Be aware of it. And really we can to dive into some other aspects in a future episode, but let this kind of saturate of, hey, what obstacles are there? And maybe even if this just spurs some thought in your life of, hey, what am I letting be an obstacle to my discipleship? Am I waiting for everything to be just right before I get started? What other distractions or what other obstacles am I putting in the way of me growing closer to the Lord and not letting that hinder us?
Yeah.
So great discussion, and really some things that we can apply. So, hey, listen, make sure you are liking and sharing the podcast. If this is content that's making a difference on you, hey, let somebody know about it. Especially for our church. This is a great avenue to be able to get some more content out there for people to take part of. And then rally points, send some rally points. We want to hear, we want to celebrate what's going on, even if it's, hey, this verse just came alive to me this week, or this statement. Let's see how God is working in your life. Send in some rally points. You can email it to Lyle@TalTBC, or you can even let us know. Tell us on Sunday. Let us know what's going on, and seeing those victories happen as well. And you know what? If you send in some rally points, guess what I got, Andy?
What do you got?
I got Waypoints stickers.
All right, stickers.
Stickers, yes. And part of my nerddom is stickers. So, yes, we've got some Waypoints podcast stickers now. And so you send in some rally points, we'll get you hooked up with some good stickers to go with that. All right. So thanks for listening today, and just remember that as we go, find a way to know God, to grow in love for God, and to show God's love to someone today.